From the very beginning of human existence, there has been a quiet force shaping our biology in ways far more profound than most people realize. A force that hides inside our cells, like a sleeping code waiting to be awakened. It influences how our genes speak, how our immune system listens, and how our brain feels the world around us. It is older than medicine, older than civilization, older even than the earliest stories told around ancient fires. This force is vitamin D, not merely a nutrient, but a molecular signal so powerful that some scientists call it the sunlight messenger, a compound capable of switching on and off hundreds of genes, calming inflammation, sharpening cognition, strengthening immunity, guiding hormonal balance, and even shaping the rhythm of your day in ways that feel almost mysterious. What you are about to hear is not a simple list of benefits, but a journey into the surprising roles vitamin D plays in the brain, the heart, the gut, the bones, the sleep cycle, and the emotional landscape of your mind. Many people think vitamin D is only about strong bones, but the most fascinating secrets lie far beyond that. In the way this molecule speaks to your DNA, communicates with your microbiome, whispers instructions to your immune system, and supports the inner architecture of human health in ways we are only beginning to uncover. In the next hour, you'll discover the hidden story of this light inside the body, and why modern science now considers vitamin D one of the most influential compounds for long-term wellness, mental clarity, vitality, and resistance to illness. So let's begin, gently and slowly, as if you're settling into a calm evening talk, feeling relaxed, curious, and open to learning. Imagine that we are sitting in a quiet room, maybe with soft ambient sounds in the background, and I'm speaking to you in a warm, slow pace. I want these first 30 seconds to pull you in, not with noise, but with clarity. You're here because you want answers. Modern, direct, scientific answers. And vitamin D is one of the most important topics you could ever explore for your body, your mind, and your long-term health. Vitamin D is not really a vitamin in the usual sense. It behaves more like a hormone, a signaling molecule that tells your body how to function. It attaches to receptors in almost every organ, including the brain, heart, pancreas, muscles, liver, immune cells, and even the skin. When levels are optimal, your body moves like a well-orchestrated symphony. But when vitamin D is low, the entire system feels as if some of the instruments have fallen out of tune. Modern science connects low vitamin D with fatigue, lowered immunity, mood disturbances, chronic inflammation, poor sleep regulation, and difficulty recovering from stress. And what's even more fascinating is how quickly the body responds when levels return to a healthier range. The immune system wakes up, inflammation calms down, and energy becomes more stable. Let's go deeper into something surprisingly beautiful. Vitamin D acts like a molecular light switch. When it binds to its receptor, it activates or silences genes involved in immunity, metabolism, skin repair, mood regulation, and even neural growth. Think about that for a moment. A single molecule, influenced by sunlight and nutrition, is capable of influencing hundreds of gene expressions. It doesn't change your DNA. It changes how your DNA behaves. It's as if sunlight becomes a message, and vitamin D becomes the interpreter that tells your cells how to respond. This is why some researchers call vitamin D the ancient biological conversation between the sun and human life. The brain, for example, relies on vitamin D in ways that surprise most people. It helps regulate serotonin, the chemical responsible for mood, emotional stability, and that sense of calm focus we all crave. Low vitamin D doesn't just affect the bones. It can influence how bright or heavy the world feels. Studies show that when vitamin D levels rise to a healthy range, many people describe a clearer mind, a lighter emotional state, and an improved ability to handle daily stress. And it gets even more interesting. Your immune system has vitamin D receptors that act like tiny antennae, constantly waiting for vitamin D to arrive. Without enough of it, immune cells behave like soldiers without instructions, confused, uncoordinated, sometimes overreacting, and sometimes failing to react when needed. With optimal vitamin D, the immune response becomes balanced, strong, but not excessive. This is one of the reasons why vitamin D is studied for its role in respiratory health, inflammation, autoimmunity, and overall resilience. Now, imagine something deeply interconnected. Your gut, that complex, intelligent ecosystem inside you, also responds to vitamin D. It helps maintain the integrity of the gut lining, supports the microbiome, and prevents the kind of chronic low-grade inflammation that silently affects mood, metabolism, and long-term wellness. When vitamin D is low, the gut becomes more sensitive, more reactive, and more vulnerable to imbalance. When vitamin D improves, the gut often becomes calmer and more stable. Let's slow down for a moment. In this relaxing flow of information, notice how everything in the body is connected. The brain, the immune system, the gut, the hormones, the bones, the muscles. Vitamin D sits quietly at the center of this network, influencing each system with precision and intelligence. And even though the science is modern, the concept is ancient. Human beings were created to live with sunlight, nature, fresh air, movement, whole foods, and rhythms of day and night. Vitamin D is the biochemical reminder of that design. Another fascinating area is sleep. Vitamin D interacts with the regulation of melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to rest. Low levels can make sleep shallow, fragmented, or inconsistent. People often describe better rest, deeper sleep, or easier waking once their vitamin D reaches a healthy range. This is not magic. It's chemistry, physiology, and the natural rhythm of the human body. And then there's inflammation, something at the center of nearly every chronic condition. Vitamin D works like a moderator, calming excessive inflammatory signals while allowing the body to protect itself. When inflammation becomes balanced, everything feels more stable. Joints, muscles, skin, mood, digestion, and energy. As we move through this journey together, I want you to see vitamin D not as a supplement, but as a biological messenger. The sun, the skin, the genes, the immune cells, they are all communicating through this molecule. And the more we uncover about its roles, the more we realize how incredible the human body truly is. This first block is just the beginning. In the next blocks, we're going to explore deeper mysteries, vitamin D's role in metabolic health, insulin sensitivity, muscle strength, fertility, lifespan, disease prevention, hormonal regulation, brain development, emotional well-being, and much more. But for now, allow this information to settle gently in your mind, reminding you that your body is far more intelligent and interconnected than you may have imagined. As we continue this slow journey through the world of vitamin D, imagine your body from the inside. Picture your cells like tiny, living rooms filled with signals, messages, and microscopic machinery working every second without you even feeling it. When vitamin D enters these rooms, it doesn't just knock politely. It walks in and adjusts the atmosphere. It opens windows that allow oxygen of new gene expressions to flow in. It closes doors on excessive inflammation. It turns on lights in parts of the cell that were once dim. And in doing so, it creates a sense of inner clarity that can be felt in ways both subtle and powerful. One of the most mind-blowing discoveries in modern biology is how vitamin D interacts with neural growth. Inside your brain, tiny branches called dendrites grow and retract constantly, forming new connections every day. Vitamin D supports this process by protecting neurons from oxidative stress and helping them communicate more effectively. It's not about making you smarter overnight. It's about supporting the brain's natural ability to stay resilient, flexible, and stable across the challenges of daily life. Scientists have also discovered that vitamin D plays a quiet but significant role in the regulation of calcium, not just in the bones, but inside every single cell. Calcium is not just a structural mineral, it's a messenger. When calcium levels inside cells fluctuate, it triggers reactions like muscle contraction, hormone release, immune activation, and even memory formation. Vitamin D acts as a gatekeeper, making sure calcium enters and leaves cells at the right time. When vitamin D is low, calcium signaling becomes unstable, like static interfering with a radio signal. When vitamin D is sufficient, the communication becomes clear and precise. Let's talk about something remarkable: muscle strength. Most people assume that strong muscles come purely from movement and protein, but vitamin D is essential for muscle fibers to contract smoothly. It influences how muscles repair themselves after exercise, how they store energy, and how efficiently they respond to daily demands. People with higher vitamin D levels often report better physical performance, greater endurance, and less muscle soreness. Even balance is influenced by vitamin D, because it supports the neuromuscular system that helps you stay steady on your feet. Another area that surprises many listeners is the role of vitamin D in hormonal balance. Hormones are the chemical messengers that guide metabolism, reproduction, mood, stress response, and countless biological rhythms. Vitamin D influences several hormones indirectly, especially those connected to the thyroid, insulin, and reproductive health. When vitamin D is at a healthy level, the hormonal environment tends to feel more stable, calmer, and more aligned with the body's natural rhythms. One of the most fascinating discoveries is how vitamin D interacts with insulin sensitivity. Insulin is the hormone responsible for guiding glucose into your cells, giving them fuel. When vitamin D is low, the body may become more resistant to insulin, meaning cells don't receive glucose as efficiently. When vitamin D is healthy, cells respond more sensitively, and metabolism runs more smoothly. People with good vitamin D levels often describe more stable energy throughout the day, fewer sudden crashes, and a sense of metabolic calmness that feels natural. Let's now move to an area that affects almost everyone: the immune system during the winter months. When sunlight decreases, vitamin D levels naturally drop, and this is when people often find themselves more vulnerable to colds or feeling more fatigued. This pattern is not a coincidence. Your immune system becomes stronger, more coordinated, and less reactive when vitamin D is stable. It doesn't promise immunity from illness, but it helps your body respond more intelligently, reducing excessive inflammation while supporting defense mechanisms. There is something comforting in knowing that vitamin D acts almost like a natural shield, not a wall, but a gentle protector that prevents the immune system from becoming overwhelmed. When levels are too low, your immune system can become confused, either underreacting or overreacting. With healthy levels, balance returns. Calm strength replaces instability. Now imagine another system in your body, your cardiovascular system. Vitamin D supports the flexibility of blood vessels, helping them relax when needed. It influences how the heart muscle contracts and how blood pressure responds to stress. While vitamin D is not a cure for heart conditions, having enough of it helps the cardiovascular system maintain its natural equilibrium. Let's take a slow breath here. This is a lot of information, but the purpose of this long, relaxing narrative is not to overwhelm you. It is to allow your mind to absorb each piece naturally. Think of this like listening to a story about how your body works, a story where vitamin D appears again and again as a guiding character, helping each system stay coordinated. Another intriguing area is skin health. Many people don't realize that vitamin D receptors exist inside skin cells, influencing repair, regeneration, and inflammation control. Vitamin D is part of the reason wounds heal more effectively when levels are stable. It doesn't replace medical care, but it supports the skin's natural ability to repair itself. That gentle glow of healthier skin is often a reflection of inner balance. Vitamin D also communicates with adipose tissue, the body's fat cells. These cells store energy and release signals that influence hunger, metabolism, and inflammation. When vitamin D is low, fat cells tend to hold more inflammation. When vitamin D is sufficient, these cells behave more calmly. Many people are surprised to learn that even weight management can be influenced by vitamin D, not because it burns fat, but because it helps the body maintain metabolic harmony. And now let's move into one of the most captivating mysteries: vitamin D and longevity. Some researchers believe vitamin D helps protect telomeres, the small caps at the end of your chromosomes that shorten as you age. When telomeres shorten too quickly, cells age faster. Vitamin D's calming effect on inflammation and oxidative stress indirectly supports healthier telomeres, and therefore healthier aging. This doesn't promise longer life. It simply supports a smoother journey through time. All of this paints a picture of vitamin D as a central thread woven through your biology. It is connected to mood, immunity, bones, muscles, metabolism, hormones, sleep, the gut, the skin, and the cardiovascular system. It ties everything together gently and quietly, without fanfare, without noise, just steady influence. And this is why understanding vitamin D is not about hype or trend. It's about respecting one of the most foundational elements of human physiology. A molecule that begins in the skin through sunlight, transforms in the liver, activates in the kidneys, and travels to every corner of the body like a messenger carrying instructions. We are only halfway through the full depth of Block 1. More is coming. We will go deeper into metabolic science, emotional well-being, bone architecture, cognitive clarity, reproductive biology, immunity, inflammation pathways, and the subtle ways vitamin D shapes daily life. Vitamin D becomes like a guiding light that helps maintain harmony in this inner world. Without enough of it, the landscape feels dimmer, the pathways become slightly slower, and the communication between cells loses some clarity. But when vitamin D rises to a healthy level, it feels as if brightness returns inside the body, like dawn appearing after a long night. One of the most surprising areas where vitamin D exerts influence is the respiratory system. Many immune cells that patrol the lungs rely on vitamin D to regulate inflammation and to respond efficiently to threats. When vitamin D is insufficient, these cells can become erratic, either reacting too strongly or not reacting enough. With balanced vitamin D, the respiratory system tends to remain calmer, more stable, and less prone to exaggerated inflammatory responses. Researchers have also discovered that vitamin D supports the production of antimicrobial peptides, tiny natural molecules that act like the body's built-in defense team. These peptides help neutralize invaders before they spread. It's fascinating to think that one single micronutrient can help your lungs communicate more intelligently and your immune system operate more smoothly. Let's shift our attention for a moment to something that affects millions of people: chronic fatigue. Low vitamin D does not automatically cause fatigue, but it contributes significantly to the feeling of low energy, poor resilience, and difficulty maintaining alertness throughout the day. Why? Because vitamin D helps regulate mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are the tiny power stations inside your cells that produce energy. When vitamin D is stable, mitochondria work more efficiently, leading to steadier energy and better endurance. Another fascinating aspect is how vitamin D influences the nervous system beyond mood and cognition. It plays a role in myelination, the process of coating nerve fibers with a protective layer called myelin. Think of myelin as insulation around electrical wires. Without proper insulation, signals travel more slowly or become disrupted. Vitamin D supports the growth and maintenance of this insulation, helping nerve impulses move quickly and accurately. This contributes to mental clarity, good reaction times, and smooth communication between different regions of the brain. Let's go a little deeper and talk about inflammation, because inflammation is at the core of nearly every chronic condition. When inflammation is balanced, the body repairs itself efficiently. But when inflammation becomes excessive, even at low levels, it can affect mood, digestion, immunity, joints, and even the clarity of your thoughts. Vitamin D's role in calming inflammation is one of the reasons why scientists call it a regulator molecule. It doesn't silence the immune system, it guides it. It encourages the body to react with precision rather than intensity. In addition to the immune system, vitamin D has important interactions with the endocrine system, the network of glands that produce hormones. Vitamin D influences the parathyroid glands, the pancreas, the adrenal glands, and even reproductive organs. It helps regulate insulin release, adrenal resilience, and calcium balance, which together contribute to stability in metabolism and overall well-being. Many people describe feeling emotionally steadier when their vitamin D levels improve. This makes sense when you consider how interconnected hormones, mood, and inflammation are. And now, let's enter one of the most beautiful and mysterious topics, vitamin D and the developing brain. During growth, from early life into adolescence, vitamin D is involved in guiding the formation of neural circuits. It influences how neurons grow, how synapses form, and how the brain learns to process information. Even in adulthood, vitamin D continues to support neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt, learn, and reorganize itself. This is why modern research links healthy vitamin D levels with better memory, stronger focus, and improved emotional resilience. Let's talk about the gut again, because the gut is truly one of the most intelligent systems in the human body. Vitamin D supports the gut lining, helping it stay strong and selective. A strong gut lining prevents unwanted particles from entering the bloodstream and triggering inflammation. Vitamin D also supports beneficial gut bacteria, those tiny companions that help digest food, produce vitamins, and communicate with your brain through the gut-brain axis. When vitamin D is low, the gut microbiome often becomes less diverse and more reactive. When vitamin D improves, balance tends to return. As we move forward through this narrative, notice how everything we mention is connected. You cannot fully talk about the brain without talking about the gut. You cannot talk about immunity without talking about inflammation. You cannot talk about hormones without talking about metabolism. Vitamin D sits at the center of these systems, quietly influencing each one without drawing attention to itself. One particularly interesting area of research is vitamin D and mood regulation. Vitamin D interacts with pathways that influence serotonin production, neural growth in mood-related regions of the brain, and inflammatory markers associated with emotional well-being. Many people with low vitamin D describe feeling heavier, slower, or less motivated. When levels improve, they often report a greater sense of clarity, emotional steadiness, or inner brightness. It's not magic. It's physiology unfolding exactly as it was designed to. Another fascinating area is vitamin D's relationship with chronic pain. Pain pathways in the nervous system rely on a balance of inflammatory signals, neurotransmitters, and nerve sensitivity. Vitamin D can help reduce the sensitivity of certain pain receptors, making discomfort feel less intense or easier to manage. It also supports muscle strength, which can reduce mechanical stress on joints and improve posture, reducing overall strain on the body. Let's slow down again for a moment. Imagine how incredible it is that one compound, one molecule that responds to sunlight, can influence the health of your brain, your heart, your immune system, your metabolism, your bones, your mood, and even your lifespan. It reminds us that the body is not random or chaotic. It is structured, intelligent, interconnected, and responsive. Vitamin D is also involved in reproductive health. In both men and women, vitamin D receptors are present in reproductive tissues. It influences hormonal signaling, cellular development, and inflammatory balance in ways that support healthy reproductive systems. While vitamin D is not a treatment for reproductive issues, having healthy levels is part of supporting the body's natural function in this area. We can also explore how vitamin D affects the skin from a protective standpoint. The skin produces vitamin D when exposed to sunlight, but vitamin D then returns to the skin to help regulate immune responses, reduce inflammation, and support repair. This creates a cycle of communication between skin and sunlight, a rhythm built into human biology from the very beginning. Another captivating area of research is vitamin D and blood pressure regulation. Vitamin D influences renin, a hormone involved in controlling blood pressure. When vitamin D is low, renin levels can rise, making blood vessels more reactive. When vitamin D is optimal, blood vessels tend to remain more relaxed and flexible. As you listen to all of this information, notice how your understanding of vitamin D is shifting. What once seemed like a simple vitamin now looks like a master communicator, a molecule that whispers instructions to many systems at once, creating stability, clarity, and balance throughout the body. Every system in the body has its own rhythm, its own instruments, and its own melodies. But vitamin D steps in like a guide, helping each section play in harmony so the whole body functions with balance and intelligence. One area where vitamin D's influence feels almost poetic is bone remodeling. Most people think bones are solid, unchanging structures. But in reality, your bones are constantly renewing themselves, breaking down old tissue and building new tissue. This process continues throughout your entire life. Vitamin D supports the cells responsible for absorbing calcium, integrating minerals, and strengthening bone architecture. Without it, bones gradually become weaker, not suddenly, but quietly, year after year. With healthy vitamin D levels, bones feel supported, strong, and resilient, as if the internal scaffolding is being maintained with precision. But the connection between vitamin D and bones goes even deeper. Bones are involved in energy metabolism. They store minerals, communicate with hormones, and release proteins that influence insulin sensitivity. This means vitamin D is not only helping your skeleton stay strong, it is also helping your metabolism stay balanced and your body remain efficient. Let's move into one of the most intriguing discoveries: vitamin D and genetic protection. Every time your cells divide, your DNA must be copied. Vitamin D helps regulate enzymes that protect DNA from excessive damage. It supports repair pathways that fix small errors, helping maintain the integrity of your genetic material. Imagine your DNA as a long, delicate ribbon of information that determines how your cells behave. Vitamin D acts like a quiet guardian, ensuring that this ribbon stays as stable as possible over time. Another layer to this story is oxidative stress, the accumulation of reactive molecules that can damage cells if left unchecked. Vitamin D helps reduce oxidative stress by supporting antioxidant pathways. This doesn't mean vitamin D acts as an antioxidant itself. Rather, it guides the body's natural processes to reduce the burden of oxidative damage. This leads to clearer thinking, improved recovery, and a calmer internal environment. Now let's explore the relationship between vitamin D and the adrenal glands, the organs that help regulate stress. When the body is under chronic stress, the adrenal glands produce hormones to help you adapt, but prolonged stress can disrupt hormonal balance, affecting mood, energy, and resilience. Vitamin D supports the enzymes involved in hormone regulation, helping the stress system remain balanced. This is one of the reasons why healthy vitamin D levels are associated with better emotional stability and smoother stress recovery. Another fascinating area is how vitamin D helps with muscle repair. When you move, exercise, lift something, or even maintain posture, tiny microtears form in your muscles. Vitamin D supports the repair process, helping muscle fibers rebuild stronger and more efficiently. It influences protein synthesis, cellular recovery, and the activation of muscle stem cells. This means that vitamin D contributes not only to muscle strength, but also to quicker recovery and better long-term physical performance. If we travel deeper inside the body, we reach the blood vessels. Vitamin D influences the production of nitric oxide, a molecule that helps blood vessels relax. This relaxation allows for smoother circulation, better oxygen delivery, and a calmer cardiovascular environment. When vitamin D is low, blood vessels may become more rigid or reactive. When vitamin D is sufficient, they behave with a sense of ease and flexibility. Another captivating topic is the relationship between vitamin D and autoimmune balance. Autoimmunity occurs when the immune system becomes confused and mistakenly attacks the body's own tissues. Vitamin D helps guide immune cells to differentiate correctly, reducing the chances of miscommunication. It promotes regulatory T cells, the cells responsible for calming excessive immune reactions. This doesn't mean vitamin D cures autoimmune conditions. Rather, it supports the immune system so it can function with more balance and less chaos. Let's now connect vitamin D with cognitive endurance. Vitamin D influences the production of neurotrophic factors, proteins that support brain cell survival, growth, and adaptation. These factors help the brain remain sharp, resilient, and capable of learning new information. They also help protect against premature cognitive decline. When vitamin D is stable, these neurosupportive signals remain active, reinforcing the brain's natural capacity for clarity. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. Every system we've talked about, the brain, the bones, the metabolism, the immune system, the cardiovascular system, the muscles, the gut, all share a common thread. They each rely on vitamin D to communicate effectively. And what makes this narrative even more fascinating is how modern the science is. Many of these discoveries have emerged only in the last 2 decades. Before that, vitamin D was underestimated, thought of mainly as a bone vitamin. But the deeper we look, the more we realize that vitamin D is one of the most influential biological molecules for maintaining harmony across the entire body. Now let's explore fertility and prenatal development, another realm where vitamin D plays a guiding role. During early development, vitamin D influences cell differentiation and organ formation. In adults, it supports hormonal balance and reproductive health. Again, this doesn't imply that vitamin D alone determines fertility, but it is undeniably part of the intricate network that supports reproductive well-being. It encourages healthy cellular communication, reduces inflammation, and supports the tissues involved in conception and development. There's also a subtle but meaningful connection between vitamin D and emotional regulation. Vitamin D influences enzymes that help convert the amino acid tryptophan into serotonin, a neurotransmitter associated with mood stability and emotional calmness. When vitamin D is low, serotonin pathways may become sluggish, contributing to emotional fog or lack of motivation. When vitamin D is healthy, these pathways flow more naturally, helping the mind remain steady and clear. Now consider how vitamin D interacts with circadian rhythms, the internal clock that guides your sleep-wake cycle. Vitamin D supports the regulation of melatonin, the hormone that helps your body recognize when it's time to rest. When vitamin D is low, this rhythm becomes less stable, leading to inconsistent sleep patterns, difficulty falling asleep, or waking up feeling unrefreshed. When vitamin D improves, the rhythm often becomes smoother, and many people report deeper and more restorative sleep. We are now moving through the final layers of this block, but the story of vitamin D is far from finished. There are still metabolic pathways, immune signals, and neurological interactions we haven't explored yet. In the next block, we will dive even deeper into the physical sensations people feel when vitamin D improves, the long-term benefits of maintaining stable levels, and the small biological miracles that happen quietly inside the body every single day. For now, take a moment and imagine your body as a symphony that is slowly being tuned, instrument by instrument, system by system, as vitamin D helps restore clarity, balance, and harmony throughout. Every night, while you sleep, thousands of microscopic repair processes activate. Damaged proteins are recycled, neural pathways are refined, inflammation is adjusted, and tissues undergo quiet rejuvenation. Vitamin D supports these processes by acting like a coordinator, helping the body decide which areas need attention, how to balance repair with energy, and how to maintain internal order. One remarkable area where this becomes visible is muscle recovery and physical resilience. When vitamin D levels are healthy, people often describe waking up with less stiffness, smoother movements, and a sense of lightness through the body. It is not because vitamin D works like a stimulant. It's because it influences calcium flow, neuromuscular coordination, and inflammatory signals, all of which shape how the body feels from the moment you open your eyes. Another subtle yet powerful influence of vitamin D is its effect on oxygen utilization. Cells need oxygen to produce energy, and vitamin D supports the enzymes that help mitochondria convert oxygen into fuel efficiently. When vitamin D is low, oxygen utilization becomes less effective, and this may contribute to feelings of low energy, heaviness, or slow recovery. When vitamin D improves, the system becomes more efficient, and people often describe feeling more naturally energized without needing extra stimulation. Let's move to skin immunity, an underrated but crucial topic. Your skin is constantly exposed to the external world: microbes, irritants, temperature changes, and physical contact. Vitamin D helps the skin maintain a balanced immune environment. It prevents excessive inflammation while supporting beneficial responses. Healthy vitamin D levels contribute to smoother skin recovery, calmer sensitivity, and a more resilient protective barrier. We can also explore the fascinating connection between vitamin D and the lymphatic system, the network that helps clear waste, transport immune cells, and maintain fluid balance. Vitamin D influences lymphatic flow by supporting muscle contraction and immune cell communication. When vitamin D is low, lymphatic circulation may slow slightly, contributing to feelings of heaviness or sluggishness. When vitamin D improves, the system moves with more ease, helping the body maintain balance. Another captivating area is vitamin D and appetite regulation. Appetite is not just about hunger. It is a complex blend of hormonal signals, emotional states, and metabolic cues. Vitamin D interacts with leptin and ghrelin, hormones that influence hunger and fullness. While vitamin D does not control appetite directly, balanced levels can contribute to more stable patterns of eating and fewer fluctuations in cravings. This is part of why people with healthy vitamin D levels often describe feeling more in control of their food choices. Now let's dive deeper into one of the most cutting-edge fields, vitamin D and immune memory. Immune memory is the ability of your immune system to remember past exposures and respond efficiently. Vitamin D helps support this training process by guiding immune cells during development. When vitamin D is low, immune memory may become less coordinated. When vitamin D is stable, immune memory functions more effectively, helping the body respond quickly and accurately. If we take a step back and observe everything we have discussed, a powerful image forms. Vitamin D is a molecule that helps the body remain aligned with its natural design. It supports strength without aggression, calmness without sedation, and resilience without overstimulation. It is gentle but powerful, subtle but essential. One more captivating connection deserves attention: vitamin D and electrolyte balance. Electrolytes such as calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium help regulate hydration, muscle contractions, nerve signals, and heart rhythm. Vitamin D influences calcium absorption and indirectly affects magnesium utilization. This connection supports muscle stability, cardiovascular rhythm, and even mental clarity. When vitamin D is out of balance, electrolyte signals can become less precise, contributing to fatigue or impaired performance. There is also a deep relationship between vitamin D and detoxification pathways. The liver, one of the most hardworking organs in the body, relies on balanced inflammation and efficient enzyme activity to process toxins, hormones, and metabolic byproducts. Vitamin D supports liver function by helping regulate inflammation and oxidative stress. When vitamin D is optimal, detoxification pathways operate more smoothly, contributing to overall vitality and metabolic clarity. As we come closer to the end of this first block, let's touch on one final, often overlooked area: connective tissue. Connective tissue includes tendons, ligaments, fascia, cartilage, and the structural frameworks that support every organ. Vitamin D contributes to collagen production, tissue repair, and the alignment of fibers that maintain strength and flexibility. When vitamin D is low, connective tissues may feel more sensitive or prone to discomfort. When vitamin D improves, many people describe a sense of greater physical ease, stability, and comfort in their movements. And now, imagine stepping back and seeing the entire picture. Vitamin D is not a single-purpose nutrient. It is a multidimensional messenger that helps coordinate everything from your immune system to your mood, your metabolism to your hormones, your sleep rhythms to your bone structure. It is a reminder that the body is brilliantly interconnected, that each system supports the others, and that balance in one area spreads harmony throughout the whole. This first block has laid the foundation. It has opened the door to understanding vitamin D, not as something simple, but as something deeply elegant and essential. In the next blocks, we will go even further, into mysteries of long-term health, lifespan, emotional resilience, disease prevention, metabolic pathways, and the science behind how vitamin D interacts with the deepest layers of human physiology.